Greetings once again, friends. My name is Peter, and this is Retro Unscripted. I welcome you to episode 27 after a bit of a delay. As always, I thank each and every one of you for taking the time to watch and comment and subscribe. You guys are great. Thank you very much for keeping this project running as long as it has. So it has been a little bit since I've been in front of the camera. Real life has kind of gotten in the way. Most notably, end of semester crush, especially in college. It tends to get pretty hairy the last couple of weeks of the semester, and I was overwhelmed with last minute projects and final exams, so I really didn't have a lot of time to get in front of the camera. But here I am at long last, and I'm excited. I'm excited to be on camera. I'm certainly excited, as you can see behind me. This is Moon Patrol running. This means, yes, another arcade-related episode, and the reason for that is because the 16th annual International Classic Video Game Competition at FunSpot in the American Classic Arcade Museum is about a week away. It is 9 days away, if you want to be specific. And I'm really, really excited for this. This is something that I've been looking forward to since I first made the reservation. I haven't been to FunSpot and to this event in 12 years, so it's going to be a bit of a homecoming of sorts. The last time I went, which was in 2002, that's when I set my Twin Galaxies record in a coin-op called Mania Challenge, which, pleasantly enough, I found out still stands today. I used to be a multiple record holder, but my Seawolf record fell in 2010. Say that 3 times fast. So I'm going back, and I'm very excited for this. And there are certain things that I'm keeping in the back of my mind when I make this trip. The first thing is, I learned not to take these trips for granted. When I attended for 3 years straight in 2000, 2001, and 2002, I fully expected that I would just continue to go every year. It was going to be my yearly vacation, and that was the way my life was going to go. After all, I really didn't live too far away from where the tournament was being held. It's about a 2-hour trip, maybe 2.5-hour trip from here in western Massachusetts, so it really made sense for me to be able to attend. Of course, it costs money to be able to stay over at a hotel with the lodging and the food and everything. Plus, the tournament itself does require an entrance fee, but it was still going to be my one big trip every year. But real life got in the way, as it tends to do with a lot of things. I got separated from my wife, then summarily divorced a year later. Then I couldn't get time off from work, and then I wound up relocating a couple of times. And then the line of work that I got into for a number of years, which was karaoke work, you don't get paid time off. So taking a weekend off, or the 4 days off for this event, would have basically been losing an entire week's worth of pay, and I couldn't afford to do that. So I wasn't able to go for the longest period of time, and then I thought about going in 2009, but that's when I was making arrangements to move to Arizona, which I did. And then attending the tournament was just completely out of bounds because it was no longer within driving distance. Then when I moved back from Arizona in 2011, I thought about going up in 2012, but I wound up going to E3 in 2012 and 2013, thanks to my relationship with Pop Zara Press, which I'm certainly grateful for. I would not do it any other way, no regrets there. But that's just life getting in the way. So here we are, 12 years since my last FunSpot appearance, and I'm obviously excited to go. This year, however, I think is going to be a little bit different. In years past, it was pretty much business. When I went up there for these trips, from the time the arcade opened until the time the arcade closed, that is where I could be found. Eating was at a minimum. There was no socializing outside of the arcade. It was just me playing games, finding new games to play, trying to find games that I had an opportunity to set a new record or a new mark on, and that was it for 4 days. And I really didn't stop during that time to consider the amazing atmosphere that I was in. The fact that I was in the company of really the best players in the world. And that kind of goes over your head a little bit when all you're thinking about is yourself. Trying to think about being in the record book, trying to be part of that select group. But now that I'm in that group, thankfully I'm still in that group, it means more to me, or it means as much to me to play these games as it does to just take it all in. Understand where I am, understand the group of people that I'm a part of and that I'm with. And also to take advantage of the fact that the Lakes region in New Hampshire is absolutely gorgeous. If the weather cooperates, there's mini golf, there are places to go and eat, there are opportunities to socialize, and these are things that I want to be able to work into my schedule, along with the wide variety of arcade gameplay that I'm sure I'm going to enjoy over that time. That's really important to me. The other thing that's important, and I know that I'm not going to be able to do this for the whole competition, especially for the arcade games that are part of the actual tournament where you can win prizes, but I want to do some observation as well. I've talked about this in past videos, and I wrote a blog on it for Twin Galaxies. But the art of observation is something that I find to be very important when it comes to bettering your skills when playing arcade games, because there are always going to be players that are better than you, and you can learn a lot just by watching the patterns, watching enemy attack patterns, watching boss attack patterns, memorizing maze layouts. These kind of things you can do without risk if you watch someone from afar. Now, granted, you don't want to be right up next to the person while they're trying to set a record or anything like that, but it's still safe to watch from a decent distance in a variety of circumstances. I've watched world record runs in bits and pieces on occasion. Greg Irway, who is the Tapper world champion, I've watched a couple of his runs. Guy is immensely talented, by the way, but you probably knew that. So you can learn a lot from observation, not to mention the fact that you're watching some of the best players to ever play. If I had a chance, I don't know whether I'm going to be able to do that this year, or even if he's going, but if you had the opportunity to watch Billy Mitchell play a game, just play, not with anything necessarily on the line, just to see his skill level and his dexterity and his competency at so many different games. I mean, it's amazing to me. And as widely known as Billy Mitchell is, there are a bunch of other people that go to this tournament that are equally as talented, maybe not equally as talented, but almost as talented at just as many different games. I mean, if you look at the Twin Galaxies record book, you're going to see names that are pretty much common. And that's because these people, while they may not necessarily be first, can be in the top 5 as far as scores go, because their skill level gets them there. They have that skill set, that dexterity set, that hand-eye coordination to be able to keep them in the conversation. And that's really what makes you one of the best players of all time. It's not necessarily being the best at any one particular game. Sure, I'm the best player in the world, allegedly. If you go by the record book, I'm the best player in the world at Mania Challenge, but does that make me a great overall arcade game player? Absolutely not. I'd like to be. I'd like to be better. I'd like to be in that conversation. And I think that observation and learning tips and tricks and doing a little bit of research and just kind of taking it all in is part of that. You may be naturally gifted, but you can always learn. You can always figure things out. There are things that you can be turned on to just through the art of observation. And that's something that I'm hoping that I'm going to be able to do when I make this trip. Granted, it won't be a lot of it, and I know that, as I mentioned, you don't want to be observing and stealing people's strategies when they're playing games that are part of the competition where there are actual cash prizes involved. And I know that I have no shot at those. I'm not even going up there with any intention of walking away with any money. But just if I learn anything, if I get better at any of the games that I like to play, if I get better at Moon Patrol, or if I get better at Tutankum, or if I get better at Gyrus, or if I get better at Battlezone, just through observation and through picking up little hints and tips here and there, then the trip's totally worth it, because you learn and you get better. And while you may not necessarily be the best player in the world, sometimes it's great just to be in that conversation. And that's what I'm hoping for. As always, friends, I thank you all very much for watching this episode of Retro Unscripted. You can check out the channel a little bit later on for this month's video log, where I talk a little bit about what's going to be going on behind the scenes, especially my new position writing articles for Retroware, which is very exciting. Until the next video, which will be in June after I return from vacation, thank you for watching, everybody, and I will see you, all of you, on the next episode of Retro Unscripted. Until that time comes, take care.